Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for requesting this special private session that Valerie and I are getting ready to do. So we're going to do what's considered a round of EFT, which, if I was doing like a full session with you, we would normally do multiple rounds while also kind of talking about things along the way, seeing what's coming up, that sort of thing. So this is kind of like an introduction to EFT. And you were just saying how you've been feeling kind of scattered lately. So I'm just trying to come up with what we're going to work on today so that we can dial it in, because EFT really loves specificity when we can like kind of focus on one thing and then, work on bringing down our distress around it. So tell me a little bit about this feeling of being not grounded or scattered that you're having.
Absolutely. So just a little bit with me, in addition to the podcast, I work full-time in community relations and public relations. We're starting to get back out into the community again,
Nice.
as opposed to being in my apartment at all times.
Right.
And it is getting to be a little bit of a busier time of year. And then outside of that, I serve on a few different nonprofit boards and local committees, and have taken on maybe a little bit. I've taken on quite a bit, and coming back from being sick for a couple of months, I'm still trying to kind of get a bearing for my schedule. I feel like I've never totally gotten caught up. And then in addition to that, and kind of not really knowing where to start on a lot of things, getting, focused back on my wellness. So on getting a journaling practice back, getting back to bed at a decent hour, getting to the gym in the mornings. And I've instead just kind of been, again, completely scattered and just not really even knowing where to begin sometimes with balancing the taking care of myself and kind of keeping a hold of what I need to be doing, in terms of work obligations and things like that.
Okay. When you think about all those things and you're trying to like kind of bring it all in, like how are you feeling when you're thinking like, oh, I've got to figure out work and the gym and wellness and eating better and taking care of myself and all that kind of stuff? How are you feeling?
Physically, I get a little bit of a headache, right over the right eye. It's always the right. And then I actually, my heart sped up a little bit when I was talking about it. I feel it a lot in my chest. And I have noticed with my Fitbit that my heart rate has been a little bit high for me lately. It's always a little bit elevated for me, but yeah, it's a little bit more so in the last
And then do you
little
end up
bit.
like talking to yourself in a negative way about those things, or how does that impact you, like when you have those days go by when you haven't been able to, really focus on your wellness or get to the gym or whatever?
Sometimes I'll get so overwhelmed that I just don't do anything. And then you're like the voice in my head, I'm kind of beating myself up a little bit that, that I should have done something. And, like, and just feeling bad about, why couldn't I get this done? And this wasn't so hard to do. Why couldn't I kind of follow a schedule a little bit more? And recognizing I do have the ADHD, and sometimes like if I don't put the structure in place, like it is harder for me in general to, to follow sometimes those things and to get those
Right.
things done. And so sometimes I'm beating myself even up for that, for not, kind of putting the practices in place that I know that help me be more successful. So a lot of negative self-talk, I think, from it, or just that feeling of defeatedness, like, well, nothing is going to get done. And I'm just
Right.
going to sit here and stare at a wall kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's kind of stuck almost.
Yes.
Okay.
Very stagnant.
Yeah. And that, I mean, stuckness, procrastination, all that kind of stuff it's inertia. It's nothing's moving,
Yeah.
So that is a matter of kind of finding that fire within yourself again and the reasons why all of this is important to you, like down to deep levels. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
like wellness is important because I want to be well. But like, you gotta really go deeper than that. Like, why is it important for me to be well? And then take that reason. And why is that important? And why is that next reason important, to the point where like, you're like, oh, I need to be well. Like, you just like, it's so important to me. And then that'll be like a greater fire for you to do it. Do you feel like you have the ability to kind of like take a step back and like really look at what's going on and like create scheduling or whatever it is going to be that allows you to follow through with this. Like, I make my grocery list for this week and see like, what's that going to include that's really going to like feed me well? And where are those pockets of time when I can go to the gym?
Yeah, that is something I'm starting to do. Like I have my Evernote
Oh, love
with all
Evernote.
all my categories and everything. And I did just start to categorize a little bit more and kind of start to come up with those lists. But I'm thinking with the weekend coming up too, there will be some pockets of time where I can really sit and kind of reflect on that and kind of figure out what actually has to get done and what would be nice to get done, but really does not need to be, and getting myself a little more organized. So I do think with that, it is a little bit of a quieter weekend that I can get a little bit of that focus in.
Okay, good. Because I know that for me, at least, like when I feel overwhelmed, I need to just sit down and like just do a brain dump,
Yeah.
and just like let all those things out on paper. Like, this is what I need to do to make this happen. And just without trying to do any of them, because that's where my ADHD brain likes to go. It's like, oh, that only takes 5 minutes. I'll go do that right now. And then all of a sudden you find all the other things that are down that rabbit hole and it doesn't do you any good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can just literally write it all down, and then you can kind of be like, oh, okay, here's these little tasks that I can do whenever. And here's these bigger things that I might even need to break down even more. And here's me and my calendar figuring out where I need to actually put the things that require specific times. And it takes me an hour or two, honestly, to do that with everything that's going on every week for me. But it's time well spent because then I actually know like where the purpose of each day is and what is imperative and what I can just release and let go because it doesn't matter nearly as much. And that takes a lot of the stress off. So the inner voice is a bit critical. The headache, the right eye. Okay. Let's, so when you think about all the things that you just brought up that you're trying to do more of and be more of and everything else, when you think about like a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 being like the most distressed and freaked out and overwhelmed about it, and 0 being like cool, calm, got it under control, where do you feel like you are on that scale?
I was probably an 8 a few days ago. I think I'm like a 5 or a 6 right now.
Okay,
Maybe
cool.
about a 6. Yeah.
All right. I will write that down. What we're going to do is you're just going to like follow the leader with me. So I'm going to start tapping on the side of the hand. And then after we're done there, we're going to go through top of the head, the eyebrow point, the side of the eye, underneath of the eye, underneath of the nose, underneath of the mouth, collarbone point, and then under the arm. People always ask, so I'll just say it before we start. If you have 2 eyebrow points, you're welcome to tap on both of them. You can use your left hand. You can use your right hand. Doesn't matter. You can switch. It's not going to make any huge difference. Same with the side of the eyes. And under the arms, you could even like kind of hug yourself and do them. You can reach from the same side or you can reach across. Doesn't make any difference. And we might do a little bit of breathing or a little bit of eye movement at the end. We'll just see what it calls for. So I just kind of lean into that. So yeah, we're just going to start on the side of the hand. And I guess what we're working on sounds like overwhelm.
Yeah.
Okay. Even though I'm feeling so overwhelmed, I honor this feeling and accept myself anyway.
I honor this feeling and accept myself anyway.
Even though I feel scattered and out of control right now.
Even though I feel scattered and out of control right now.
I want to love, accept, and forgive myself.
I want to love, accept, and forgive myself.
Even though I feel so overwhelmed that sometimes I don't want to do anything.
Even though I feel so overwhelmed that sometimes I don't want to do anything.
I honor that feeling and accept myself anyway.
I honor that feeling and accept myself anyway.
All of this overwhelm. There are so many things that I want and need to be doing right now.
There's so many things I want and need to be doing right now.
And I don't feel like I'm taking care of any of them.
And I don't feel like I'm taking care of any of them.
And I don't know how to make the time and space to do them.
And I don't know how to make the time and space to do them.
Sometimes I just feel like shutting down.
Sometimes I feel like shutting down.
And I get really hard on myself.
Because
none of this sounds like it's that difficult.
because none of it sounds like it's that difficult.
But I just can't seem to fit it all into my day.
But I just can't seem to fit it all into my day.
And I feel like I should be able to.
And I feel like I should be able to.
Because I'm Superwoman.
Because I'm Superwoman.
And I should be able to do everything, right?
And I should be able to do everything.
And then some more.
And then some more.
Maybe I don't even need to sleep.
Maybe I don't need to sleep.
Oh, I do need to sleep.
I do need to sleep.
And I can't do it all.
And I can't do it all.
And that is really hard to swallow.
And that is really hard to swallow.
Because I have really high expectations for myself.
Because I have really high expectations for myself.
And really high standards.
And really high standards.
And I think I might even be self-sabotaging.
And I think I might be self-sabotaging.
By trying to pile on more than I could humanly handle.
By trying to pile on more than I can humanly handle.
And then I'm shutting down and not doing any of it.
And then I'm shutting down and not even doing any of it.
And it gives me a headache.
And it gives me a headache.
This headache over my right eye.
This headache over my right eye.
And then my heart starts racing.
My heart starts racing.
And I can feel all of this stress building up in my chest.
And I can feel all of this stress building up in my chest.
And then I get hard on myself because I should go to the gym.
And I get hard on myself. I should go to the gym.
Because if I'm having chest pain, I'm probably out of shape.
Because if I'm having chest pain, I'm probably out of shape.
Oh, I'm just beating myself up.
I'm just beating myself up.
I'm open to the possibility that things can get better.
I'm open to the possibility that things can get better.
And that maybe I'm already taking pretty decent care of myself.
That maybe I'm already taking pretty decent care of myself.
And that beating myself up definitely isn't improving the situation.
And that beating myself up definitely isn't improving the situation.
So I can just say goodbye to that inner voice.
So I can say goodbye to that inner voice.
And welcome one that's a bit more compassionate.
And welcome one that's a bit more compassionate.
Maybe talk to myself more like I would talk to a friend.
Maybe talk to myself more like I would talk to a friend.
And allow this resistance to all the things that I need to do to be released.
And allow this resistance to all the things that I need to do to be released.
They will all happen in good time.
They will all happen in good time.
Side of the fingers. I am in the process of being less overwhelmed.
I am in the process of being less overwhelmed.
And I'm capable of doing what needs to be done.
And I'm capable of doing what needs to be done.
And I don't need to do it with any added stress or judgment.
And I don't need to do it with any added stress or judgment.
With love and tolerance and compassion.
With love and tolerance and compassion.
I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
And I call my power back into my body.
And I call my power back into my body.
And my focus back into my mind.
And my focus back into my mind.
I'm going to tap on the back of the hand right between the ring finger and the pinky finger. I am whole, complete, and powerful.
I am whole, complete, and powerful.
All right. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. Out through your mouth. Keep tapping on the back of the hand. And then I want you to look straight forward. And I want you just to focus on whatever resistance feels like it's left, whatever feelings of overwhelm still feel like they're left. And while you're doing that, I want you to look hard down to the right. and back up to center. And then I want you to look hard down to the left and then back up to center. Now we're going to roll our eyes clockwise in a circle, like starting at 12, like if you're looking at the hands on the clock, and just roll around each hour of the clock back up to 12. And then we're going to roll counterclockwise, same deal. As slowly as you need to go to kind of get a full eye roll. And now we're going to just hum a couple seconds of happy birthday. We're going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you count?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you. And we're going to hum again. All right. Now you can take another nice deep breath. You can even do that, that sternal hold in front of the thymus gland. Just press in and take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Now stretch, yawn, whatever you need to do. People often feel like just kind of moving after that. And if you did, anyone who's listening, yawn while you're doing that, that is an energetic release. It's releasing blockages when you yawn. So it's total compliment to any EFT practitioner if you just yawn your way right through a session. But all right. So where do you feel like you are on that scale of 0 to 10 now in regards to those feelings of overwhelm?
I feel like a 1. Like my headache is gone.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else do you notice? Like what, when we were doing it, what did you notice? Were there any aha moments? How do you feel now?
I felt a lightness, and I was kind of recognizing I actually have been doing a lot in the last like week or so to kind of, even though I'm not doing every single thing that's on the list. And when you said the list might be too long, I have so many columns on my to-do list and I add to it throughout the day that
Girl,
I realize,
I get it.
Yeah, like maybe it should be more of a brain dump for later and not so much of a right now, this needs to happen. And, yeah, that like it probably all can be done. It just can't all be done now. And it doesn't need to be. And, and kind of recognizing I actually have been doing a lot in the last like week or so to kind of start to set myself up for that. It's just, it's not all happening at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else come up for you? Or any other physical feelings? The headache's gone. How's your heartbeat and your heart rate feeling?
It feels good. It feels kind of back to normal.
Awesome.
I wish I had checked my pulse before and after.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But how you feel is more important than anything.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So from a 6 down to a 1.
Yeah.
And what feels like it's still left for you?
I guess, just kind of putting some of it into practice, I think a little bit more. Yeah. I think kind of just remembering that at night, like it probably is better to just go to sleep than let the energy kind of ramp back up. Cause I'll do that and I'll get the second wind. And that's how both medicine cabinets and bathroom stuff ended up in the living room at midnight, and decided to start reorganizing it. It was a great thing to do. Probably did not need to happen, at the sacrifice of sleep, and so kind of, yeah, I think giving myself, recognizing that the physical, like I do need to be honoring some of the physical, just for me, and not even just the, I should, but right. I do feel better when I actually do it.
Right. So then, it comes back to also just realizing that like when you sit down and you make these lists and you make this plan for yourself, and then it becomes the day when you're actually executing it, that's when you normally start kind of questioning yourself. Oh, I don't really need to go to the gym now or whatever. And then it's a matter of trusting that past you had current you's best intentions in mind, and you're going to go with what you set out for yourself because you knew what you were talking about and nothing's changed there. So, and that can be just kind of a sticking point when that comes around, because you'll start trying to talk yourself out of those things.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh, well, I probably don't have time, or I slept 5 minutes too long or whatever. And just find a way to bring yourself back to just trying to stick with it as much as possible and giving yourself grace when it's just not possible. But yeah, that's awesome. Great work there. And for anybody who tapped along with us, I love hearing the same kind of stuff that I was just asking Valerie about, like what's left for you, what came up, what kind of aha moments did you have? Feel free to shoot me an email. And, again, Theresa at theresalearlevine.com, and let me know like how this worked for you and what happened. I realize this isn't an exact alignment probably with what anybody is feeling quite for themselves. So change the words, go back and do it again, change the words to fit what you're feeling or what your overwhelm looks like or shows up as. And you might even get a better result the second time through working on what's left for you. If you started at, an 8 or a 9 and maybe you're like a 3 now or something, focus on what's left, do another round and see how it goes for you. And let me know how it goes. So thanks for requesting this. And thanks for vulnerably sharing and tapping along with me, Valerie. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This is fantastic. And I feel a lot better. I really do.
Good.